Thank you for staying with us. It's still Sports Tonight. In case you just joined us, you've missed out on quite a lot, but we'll try to make the remaining part of the show as exciting so that you can catch up on a few of the things that we have left for you as well. Before we went on the break, we were discussing about the Nigeria Women Football League, and we'll give you the resumption date for the Premier League and for the Pro League. But let me just quickly get you up to speed with the fixtures for the Premier League that is starting on the 25th of March. We are going to be having Bayelsa Queens against Ibom Angels. That looks like the star match for the opening day. Rivers Angels, defending champions, against COD Ladies. Sunshine Queens against Abia Angels. And then you have Heartland Queens against FC Robo. These are some of the fixtures from Group A. From Group B, you're going to be having Delta Queens against Confluence Queens. Nasarawa Amazons against Oshun Babes. And then you'll be having Pelicans against Sadatu Kolo. Adamawa Queens against Edo Queens. These are the fixtures from Group B of the Nigerian Women Premier League. All right. Don't forget, kick-off date for the Premier League, 25th of March. And then for the Pro League, it will be the 8th of April. All right. Let's move very quickly now and tell you that we've made a change. Femi Adefeso has joined me on Sports Tonight. Femi, good to have you on the show. We are so happy to see you. You've been out for a while, but you're looking very good. You're looking well rested, so welcome back to the show.
Yeah, good to be back. Doctors have passed me fit, so
yeah, that's
I'm ready to score an hat-trick tonight.
All right, before we come to Femi, Sonny Young is also waiting to join us all the way from Washington. So let's quickly take you over to Washington now, and you see Sonny always looking so good. And we're expecting another supersonic performance tonight. Sonny.
Sporty greetings, Toyin. Great to be back on Sports Tonight. Regarding Claudio Ranieri, I loved your definition of a coach, Toyin. Those who have been fired and those who are waiting to be fired. And that applies to Claudio Ranieri. Yeah, it's amazing. He goes from winning the English Premier League trophy to being let go a year later. But that's the life of a coach, Toyin. It is.
So I mean, that's what it is. And that means, as a coach, you have to try to keep getting those good results so that you can stay on your job.
That's true. I know there's some other big football stories happening in Johannesburg this week. Big summit of the Football Federation presidents throughout Africa. My understanding, Toyin, is that there was some intense lobbying going on there in Johannesburg with Gianni Infantino, the FIFA president, regarding more African births at the World Cup. And I support 10 African places at the 2026 World Cup to win. I base it on number of teams in the various confederations. For an example, CAF and UEFA have roughly the same amount of teams in their confederations. Very slight difference. Europe currently, I think, has 13 places in the World Cup. They want to boost up to 16 for the 2026 World Cup. I think Africa has a good chance of getting 10 places at the 2026 World Cup.
Yeah, I agree with you, Sonny. But let's see how it pans out. And apart from the politics of the World Cup, I'm also sure you understand that the politics of the CAF elections are also going down as well. But we'll talk about that maybe when we're getting close to the elections. I'm going to ask you, maybe next week, where you're putting your money. Do you see Issa Hayatou going for the 8th term, or you see change?
Well, I will backtrack a little bit, because I think I said on one of your recent shows, Toyin, that I thought Hayatou would be tough to topple in that election coming up in Addis Ababa. But it sounds like Ahmad from Madagascar is getting some support now, and I think it's going to be a very interesting election. But I'll give you my pick maybe in a couple weeks.
All right, because humble pie is still around, so we'll wait till next week and then we'll talk about that. But Sonny, what's going on with the NBA? Regular basketball is back.
Yes, later tonight, the National Basketball Association resumes its regular season with 6 games. Let me quickly give you the individual leaders. I'll give you 3. The leading scorer right now is Russell Westbrook, averaging more than 31 points a game. Hassan Whiteside of the Miami Heat is the leading rebounder. He's averaging more than 14 rebounds a game for the Heat. And leading in assists is James Harden of the Houston Rockets. Harden sports my favorite beard in basketball, currently averaging more than 11 assists per game. It's also the NBA trade deadline twin on this Thursday. One quick shout out for my Washington Wizards twin. They picked up from the Brooklyn Nets Bojan Bogdanovic. Some of your Sports Tonight viewers might not have heard of him, but he's a Croatian, excellent shooter. In fact, he led scoring last year at the men's Olympic basketball tournament in Rio. He averaged more than 25 points a game for Croatia. So the Wizards looking good as they head into the second half of the NBA season.
Sonny, let's close today's chat with a little bit of boxing. Last week, we were talking about Manny Pacquiao, who is going to fight, who is not going to be in the ring with him and all of that, but it's looking more like American is going to be his next opponent.
I like that. I like that fight, twin. I think Pacquiao-Khan will be a exciting fight. I mean, Khan is fast in the ring. I think Khan has some, I won't say revenge, but I know he wants to make up for his last outing. Terrible knockout loss to Canelo last year. Kind of talk about humble pie. He had some humble pie after that knockout, twin. But I would think Khan, I think he can give Pac-Man a really good fight.
Okay, all right. We'll keep talking about this as we go on. And I don't want to ask you where you're going to put your money on because it's still a long way off. Once it is confirmed that that's the fight, we'll talk more about it, Sonny. But Sonny, once again, I must thank you so much for your time. Always a pleasure to have you on Sports Tonight.
Thank you, Twin. It's always great to be on Sports Tonight. And I'll talk to you next week.
All right. See you then. Bye. That's Sonny Young. Ahmad. Yeah, always bringing a lot of energy to our shows. We appreciate him so much for all that is contributed to the show all the way from Washington. Well, Femi Adefenso is at home, and Femi is also as loaded with a lot of stories around local basketball and all of that. But Femi, while you were away, a lot happened. I mean, I'm sure you have a lot to talk to us about on the program tonight.
Yes.
Where are we starting from?
That's the big question.
Okay.
But we'll have to start from
Let's start from the NBA. Since we spoke about the NBA, NBA, I mean, they come to Africa once a year now.
Yeah.
We hope one of those days they will come to Nigeria. They come to Africa, but not Nigeria. They go to Joburg, South Africa.
Yeah, and that was...
So they're coming again this year?
Yes, and that was the most interesting part of the NBA All-Star Weekend for me when I heard that announcement that come August the 5th.
August 5?
Yeah, there'll be the NBA Africa game. The last time they did it was actually in 2015. August the 1st.
Yeah.
Back then, and it was huge because it was the first time NBA players would be playing on African soil. And we saw both African-born and
former stars
and stars who were born in diaspora but they have African roots. Start for a team. It was Team World against Team Africa, and it was completely fantastic. Then we saw Dikembe Mutombo and Hakeem Olajuwon as well. Also come lace up their shoes after so many years and show us some of their flicks and their tricks, to make it all interesting. So it's good to see that they are coming back again. And I like the fact that it's also an Afro-Basket year, and Afro-Basket 2 is in August. So it also helps, raise the tempo and whet our appetite because some of those stars, like Al-Farouk Aminu, I know for sure will be there. They would help spice things up. Salah Medri should be there. Jogi Dieng, a couple of our players, African players, are beginning, to get involved in the NBA more, having impact. Emmanuel Mudiay, also, a few of the names are African representing the NBA. So come August the 5th will be in Johannesburg, while of course the Afro Basket will take place from 19th to 30th. It might take a long time, but I like the fact that they are bringing them back home. Everybody will be excited to watch, and then the respective countries too, would be also using that opportunity to also, bring in the fans, to come and start monitoring and seeing the big stars that will be representing them. Cameroon too will have a very big impact with the process. That's what they call him, Joel Embiid, Lukumba Amute. So it's really going to be big from an African perspective. Although yes, we know NBA is trying to grow and develop the culture of basketball on the continent, which is fantastic and very laudable. And we can only get better, you know, for us as time goes on. But I'm particularly just excited that on the second coming,